this presentation about the case study on automatically calculating bottom hole pressures for every single well, and then updating that automatically every single day. We're super excited to share our experience working with Camino Natural Resources that we have here on the call, and also Conduit Resources. And we're sharing this case study as a part of the Darcy Partners platform. Bottom hole pressures is something that impacts a wide range of engineering calculations. It's used for reservoir simulation, RTA, flow material balance, nodal analysis, production diagnostics, etc. But in tight unconventionals, we typically have this data measured with so-called downhole gauges on less than 5% of the wells. And even if you have the data measured for your well, you typically need something to convert it from the gauge depth down to sand phase to have an accurate sand phase pressure. So where we provide a value is essentially working as a facilitator with our software Whitson Plus to provide you with the bottom hole pressure calculations for every single well that can be accessed in a cost-efficient and instant manner every single day. We do that by combining production data, wellbore data, a cloud integration of choice, and our physics-based engine Whitson Plus. The production data and wellbore data is readily available for you, typically for every single well, and the cloud-based integration is just a choice of a preference. So there we support a API connection, a direct database connection, and a Snowflake share integration. So once you've set up your integration, Whitson Plus essentially works as a living document for BHP calculations that are dynamically updated once you get new information. It's shared across the organization, and it's not only the data going into the calculation that you can seamlessly access in a tool, but it's also the actual calculations that you can pull back into your internal databases and systems. You can, of course, also use this directly in Whitson Plus preferred analysis that requires bottom hole pressures, such as RTA, flow material balance, and numerical modeling studies. So if you like to test out, using or setting up this automatic calculation of bottom hole pressure in your organization, typically that will be handled by one of our data engineers, for instance, Jason that we have on the call. So can't you, Jason, just loop them through how a typical customer journey looks like?
Yeah, so typically there are three main milestones through which we walk together with our customers. The first milestone is the data integration. So as Matthias previously mentioned, there is the API connection, the database connection, or Snowflake. And the second milestone is the proof of concept. In a typical proof of concept, we work together with the customer engineers on conducting experiments and evaluating calculation results. And the last milestone is the scale up. So at the third milestone, we take the proof of concept experiment and scale it up to all the wells in the company. So Camino Resources is one of the first customers we worked together with on completing this journey. And during this journey, Conduit played an essential role in providing the necessary technical expertise, especially on finishing the integration. So Charlie, can you explain a bit on what does Conduit do, or what kind of a role does Conduit plays in a project like this?
Yeah, thank you, Jason. I'm Charlie Strickler. I'm CEO and co-founder of Conduit Resources. Let's talk a little bit more about specifically what we did with our Whitson Conduit and what that looks like from setup to the downstream analytics for Camino. Essentially, Camino requested from Conduit to include their Whitson data in their local data warehouse for optimal performance and functionality, and allowing them the light customization they need to effectively use their Whitson data alongside their other critical data sources at Camino. For this integration, Conduit is managing Camino's daily production into the Whitson application for reservoir calculations and downloading the subsequent BHP data along with other critical Whitson outputs into their local data warehouse for evergreen analysis. Conduit handled all the installation from setup to the installed system and obtains the necessary credentials from Camino and Whitson to get this done. With Conduit's proven remote installation upgrade software, we continue to monitor and maintain this component of Camino's data warehouse, along with periodic upgrades to include new and relevant data and features that Whitson is providing Camino. So with that, I'll pass it over to Nick, and I'll let him summarize some of the downstream benefits of having that Camino data, or sorry, that Whitson data available for every well.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. My name is Nick Leitner, Director of Reservoir Engineering over here at Camino Natural Resources. We're a operator in the Anadarko Basin and now have Powder River assets as well. We kind of going back to that, we are a company that actually has gauges in 90% of our wells, but we find huge value in not only passing all that data through every one of our different departments, but also making sure that everything's correct at the bottom hole so that we're standardized amongst the entire company and how we look at and use this data. Whitson is our platform of choice. We have all this data flowing into other platforms, but Whitson will be the surviving platform. And it was really nice. The instant we wanted to integrate all of this data into Whitson, pretty much a week later, Matthias had a new person on the call named Jason. Jason had took care of everything on the back end of Whitson, and we got together with Charlie and his team. Conduit's kind of our, if we need to add 3 people quickly to our team to integrate data, we call Conduit because they're the people we trust to get our data where we have it, or maybe even where we don't have it, to where we need it to go. And so a couple weeks later, all of our data was naturally flowing into Whitson in a way that was exactly how we had envisioned it. And when able to, again, pull that data right back out into the systems and platforms we've built internally so that production group can look at it, the reservoir group can look at it. We can optimize it in ways that allows us to pretty much be kind of our source of truth for all things bottom hole pressure. This is something we use on our hourly data as well, gauge how we open wells and flow wells back. This is stuff we look at daily. This is data that we need to kind of run our company. And pretty much within the month, we had this spun up in a brand new platform in a way that was seamless and now kind of our new source of truth, moving on from previous ways that and workflows that we had done this. So it was on our side, it was completely transparent. It took none of our man hours. We had Conduit and Whitson completely devoting their man hours to do this, and allowed us to achieve kind of what we now call our final working product for all things bottom hole pressure, that we now can pretty much use go forward, and will continue to help us run our business effectively and allow us to maintain the integrity of how we open and monitor our wells.